Why would anyone, much less someone in their late 30s, start video game development? It's a difficult and time-consuming process, and as an indie developer, success is a tall order. For me, understanding the answer to the question above is an essential step for a task as vast as game development. If you search for the phrase "find your why," you'll find lots of different results, and if this was a serious video, I would pull up some clip of Simon Sinek, but this is not that channel. Instead, we're going to look at a clip from Speed Racer.
Every one of us has to find a reason to do this. You don't climb into a T-180 to be a driver. You do it because you're driven.
If you know so much, why don't you tell me why I should keep driving?
Sorry, that's for you to figure out.
Even a movie as light as Speed Racer talks about the concept of figuring out your why. You may be thinking, why is figuring out the why of something so important? Let me try to explain some of the reasons why I think this is the case. I'm very new to game development, so I haven't really hit a wall yet, but I have come closer in the game jams I've done, where I've tried to work at an accelerated pace. There were times where I got stuck for hours working on something during Lundare. Ultimately, that's a bit of a taste of what you might face as a game developer. When you're looking at the same problem for days or weeks, or you're working on a system that may take months to actually see progress on, that's where you really need a why to back everything up. If you don't have that why as that foundation, you can kind of lose track of what you're trying to do. And a few problems that I notice people talking about in game development videos as I've gotten further into this space and watched them more are things like developers talking about hating their game, developers thinking about quitting their project, or finding a situation where you just think, this is the one, I can't solve this one. Even for a small scale game, getting everything in order that you need to actually release can be a very time consuming process, whether it's creating the art or refining the art or writing the code or getting the level of polish you need to actually put something on Steam or Epic or whatever. Especially when you get into systems that may take months to develop and you really feel like you don't have anything to show for the work you've been putting in, that's where you need that core idea to go back to. Like many my age, I've spent a good part of my childhood playing games on the Nintendo Entertainment System and the SNES. And I played games like Mega Man, A Link to the Past, Chrono Trigger, just to name a few. As I started gaming with friends, sometimes the discussion would turn to, wouldn't it be cool if we did this? Or wouldn't it be cool if we could do that? Or even just taking off on our own idea and thinking, I wish we had a game like this. I started playing around with something like RPG Maker in the mid-2000s, but I didn't really have the drive and a focus to learn enough to actually finish a game. I started trying to learn programming in my late 20s, early 30s, but the key here is I didn't really have a why. I didn't have a concrete reason that I wanted to learn programming. I wanted to learn it, I was interested in it, but I didn't have problems to solve, I didn't have things to make. This all changed in early 2021. I ended up working on a Python project for something I was doing at work, and the normal process would take about 10 to 15 minutes of focused work. I took that and turned it into an automated process that all I had to do was enter my password, and it completed all the steps I needed to do in like 30 seconds. This was something where I learned a lot about programming just doing this project. I had done tutorials before, but again, I didn't have a reason why. This particular project, and needing to solve this problem, gave me a reason why and something to focus on. I had a clear goal. So before, I had a what, but now I had a why. As I continued building my programming skills with various things like a dashboard to make a choropleth map and other things like that, I started really understanding programming more. It really started clicking what the tutorials had been trying to teach me. As I started 100 Days of Code this summer, I started looking more at game development. I ended up coming across a game jam, and I did that game jam. Then I couldn't really stop thinking about the game dev aspects of things. That really kind of clicked into me, hey, this is something you can actually do. You have kind of gotten past that initial hurdle, and if you want to make games, now you can. That's what I wanted to get to, is why I want to do game dev. The first reason why is I have games that I want to make. I have ideas of things I want to try. I think other people will want to play them and just see if I can create something different or simply put my own spin on a type type of genre like I am with the Brick Breaker game I'm making. Secondly, right now, AAA gaming is in a very rough space in my opinion, which is kind of crazy because we've had a really great year for 2023 when it comes to games. But for every Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, we've had games like Gollum, and then the more kind of what I think of as generic or soulless games out there. In my opinion, they try to be too many things to too many people. They try to appeal to too wide of an audience. It just doesn't work. Whether I'm right or not about that, we'll find out. But that is kind of my core concept of why AAA games aren't necessarily connecting like most publishers think that they should. The other reason is totally a separate one, and it's personal to me, is I like a challenge. I want to have challenges in my life because to me, challenges help you grow. I want to be able to conquer challenges, and getting better at game development is something that I find really intriguing. Every time that I come up to a problem, sometimes I'll search Google or whatever, but sometimes it's not out there and I'll have to come up with a unique solution, or what if I tried this? And sure enough, that works. And that feeling is just an awesome thing. So once you solve that problem, that sense of achievement, that overcoming of obstacles is something that really helps you grow. That new way of thinking that you unlock by getting through those challenges is an awesome thing. I personally have played a lot less video games in the past few years, partially because I have gotten involved with other things like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Muay Thai, but also because a lot of times games just ship broken, or like I say, I find them bland or soulless. That's where I think the indie market is really starting to come on strong. To me, one of the big things is just getting past self-limiting beliefs. Telling yourself that you don't have the mind of a programmer, that's part of the initial problem that you need to get past. Sometimes that just comes to proving it to yourself that, hey, you can actually figure this stuff out. I have so many skills to learn, from programming to just learning more about game engines to the basics of like art and music, even just game design. It's one of those things where you have to really take the time to prioritize, otherwise you can easily get overwhelmed and burnt out. That's why I started this channel, because I wanted to be able to document what I learned, how I learned it, maybe some tricks that I think could help people that are looking at this in the future. That's one thing that I really want to help people do, is if they want to do game development, I want to try to find ways to help them advance. So why are you looking to start game development, or why did you start game development? Feel free to sound off in the comments below. If you are looking for some high-level Godot tips about that engine, take a look at the video right here. Thanks for watching, have a great day, and I will see you next time.